What's up guys, welcome back or welcome. This is the first video of the channel. My name is Snow and I'll be teaching you guys how to run Flutter tutorials on this channel. Tips and tricks on how to go about implementing different things on your Flutter application, just basically Flutter in general. But for this video, which is going to be the first video on this channel, make sure you give it a thumbs up and you subscribe to the channel if this is something you're into. I'll be teaching you how to use the camera feature on your application. So basically how to use the camera to take pictures and to record videos on your applications. So if that's something you're interested in, let's get into the video.
Alright guys, so here is what we need to do. First of all, you need to create a Flutter project. So just open your VS Code emulator or whatever emulator you are using and then try to create a new Flutter project. To create one, you could just use your command palette option, or you could use your terminal. So let's just use the command palette option. When you click command palette, it gives you like, you could type Flutter and you see Flutter new project. When you click on it, click on application, it will then bring out where do you want your project to be. So I have like a folder in my document called Flutter project where I have things for work and personal project. So I'll just create a new folder inside Flutter project called tutorials for YouTube. Let's create that. Then we create the app inside here and we'll call this camera tutorial. So right now the application would get created. For some of you, I did put my file folder for the Flutter app on my right side just for compatibility. So basically this is the first thing that you need to do while trying to create this project. Do is just launch your emulator. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I am going to launch an Android emulator, a Pixel 4 emulator. So while that is launching, okay, so here's my emulator guys, and just to test run what we created, this is just a new Flutter project. I'm just going to run the project so that you guys can see that it's a new Flutter project. You'd see the default information that comes with a new Flutter project. You see right now, this is the default page that you get into when you newly launch a Flutter application. You can see it is responsive and all that good stuff. But this is not what we're here for. We're actually here to implement camera functionalities into your Flutter application. So the very first thing that we need to do is that we need to actually get the package that would allow us to add that functionality into our application. So you would need to go to your browser. A few packages that we're going to need in our application to basically implement the camera feature into our application. So the first one we're going to need is GAL, which is this package that allows you to save image or videos into your gallery. And the second one we're going to need is camera, which is this feature basically that allows you to use the camera feature on Android, iOS, and web. So make sure you get that package into your Flutter project so that we'll be able to like implement the features needed. And how you could do that is just basically going into installing Flutter Pop Add Camera or Flutter Pop Add GAL, and there's one command you could use straight away, which is Flutter Pop Add GAL Camera or Flutter Pop Add Camera GAL, and you just install both packages simultaneously, and you don't need to write Flutter Pop Add GAL, Flutter Pop Add Camera one after the other. So I'll just show you that in my IDE, and yeah, let's get into it. We're back to the IDE, and you can see the app, the emulator, and the IDE. So now, for those of you, well, new to the Flutter app, and you just okay, let me just test around. You could go to your terminal this way. Just go to terminal, and here's where we write the necessary code to install the dependencies. And for those of you who don't know, if this isn't open for you and you don't know how to get to it, it's just as simple as, let's see, clicking this over here. You should see it at the bottom of your VS Code. Once you click on it, your terminal will open up. Most times it will go to this page. For some, it will go straight to terminal. So just search for terminal around here, and we'll add Flutter pub add camera space gal. So these are the two packages we are going to need, camera and gal. You guys could write it one by one, or you could just write it at the same time, and it will install both packages. Just make sure to click enter so that it installs both packages into our Flutter application, which is what you are seeing right here. Now, to confirm that it has been installed in our application, or rather in our IDE, you could just go to the prospect YAML, and if you scroll down to dependencies, under dependencies, you'd see camera and gal. So yeah, now you have these two packages in your Flutter application, and you are ready to use the application right now. For the Now that we have the various dependencies installed in our application, there are certain configurations you need to do for the applications to just run properly on both devices, which we're focusing on, which is iOS and Android. Now, for the iOS part, you can just follow the instruction given on the um, package, the bug dev package camera site, which is, let me just, so when you come here on the camera package, when you're viewing it, just click on the readme. You see that there's this place called setup, which basically just gives you instructions that you need to add while setting up your application to use some specific type of packages. So we have for the info plist, and we have for the minimum SDK version. So for the iOS, you're just going to add basically these two things in your info.plist. Now, the reason why this is being added is just to let the device know that, okay, I just want to use this particular package, this particular feature on my mobile application, which is giving access to the camera for your application. And for the Android part of your app, you just need to like include the minimum SDK version to 21. Okay. So for iOS, you just open up the iOS folder, head into runner, then click on the info playlist file, and head back to the camera and copy these instructions and paste them into your info.playlist file. So within this dictionary, I'm just going to like paste it in there, Control V, and yeah, just make sure that everything, so you just need to make sure that all these things are aligned. So once that's done, we head back to the Android folder, which is here, and you go straight into the app build Gradle, and you scroll down. Remember, we're looking for the minimum SDK version, which is this. Remember that over here we were told that we should change the minimum SDK version, which is what we're going to do now. So we'll just do that right now, minimum SDK version, and we'll put that in here and just change it to 21. That's that. Then you just need to save everything, save all. Just to be safe, I would say you should stop the code from running in your emulator and then run it all over again so that you're sure that all the configurations are working as appropriately as they should work. So there's one more thing that we need to do. We need to head into the Android manifest folder and include some permissions there. To get into your Android manifest folder, make sure you head into your app folder, into your source folder, into your main folder, and then you see the Android manifest file. So in here, you need to include this. user permission, just so that you'd be able to write external storage, which allows you to store information inside your application. So we created a default home page that we're going to use, so it's just going to return a blank screen. Let's run our code. So initially, I think I showed running the code using the debug console, but we could also run it in our terminal here. And we'll just type command flutter run. Alright, so as you can see, the scaffold sheet is blank. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We're just going to create a list. Now what this list does is just check, provides like an empty state for the camera description. Here we're going to give it a variable called cameras, and we're just going to give it an empty state, which is an empty list right here. Then we're also going to call a default camera controller. Just call it camera controller, just give that there. Then the next thing that we're going to do is try and create a way to set up the camera for the application, and the best way to do that is we're just going to write this function over here. And yeah, so let's just write it out, and you could follow along. So I might just copy and paste the code because I've already written it out somewhere, and you guys could just pause the video and copy the code so that you know what it is that we're doing. So right, so what we're going to do is just we're just going to write the function, and the function is going to be called setup camera, which is just going to be what we're going to use for that. So let's just call it setup camera. You can call it setup camera controller. Da, 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 da. So we're going to make this try. We're going to use a try and catch block. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all try to fetch all available cameras. And we'll just type this variable final cameras is going to be equals to available cameras. Available cameras is gotten from the camera package. So what it's going to do is just going to list out the available cameras that we have available on our device. Then we're going to say with an if and else statement, if the camera is not empty, let's set the states of the camera list that we already assigned above. Let's set the state of that camera list to be equals to the cameras list gotten from here, basically gotten from here. So we'll just write this. So we're going to say this cameras is equals to cameras. Then we're going to use the camera controller here, and we're going to say is equals to camera controller and we're going to set the description to pick out the first camera on the list here. So it's going to make sure that the first camera on this list, this is what we set here, and we're going to pick a resolution, and the resolution we'll pick is going to be, let's just set it to high so that the camera quality will be okay, I guess. Okay, then we're going to just change this here, just change the catalyzer because I was wondering what the error was for. And yeah, let's save that. So now we have a try and catch block. So what is left is that after this if and else, no, not after this, After this if statement, we're going to include and try to get like initialize the camera controller. So basically, we're going to initialize the camera controller over here. Let's see. So let's try and initialize the camera controller over here. So this is still within the try block. I'll wait, and we're going to say camera controller dot initialize. Yeah, let's do this. No, let's just add a null check here. Save here. So after this, we're going to try and update the UI after the initialization. Update UI after initialization. What we're going to do here now is just set the state basically and leave that blank. Now, because this, you can see that there's an error here. That's because we didn't write the else block over here. So else, we're going to show, let's just say, let's show error. We're going to create our own error default message. And we're going to say no cameras available on this device. And let's close that. Let's create this error message. So we're going to void show errors string. Basically, we're going to pass a string message to it, and we're going to write use a show dialog box. Show dialog context will be context builder context. Oh yeah, this shouldn't be outside of this place. Let's put it here. Yeah. Context equals to alert dialog title. Let's put this here. We're going to add content rather, which will be the text, which will be that message. Then let's add an action button. Actions. Let's just call it text button. What should we do? Let's just close the app if it doesn't, if you click on it, I guess. Navigator dots pop. And for the button, we'll just say close. So that's how that error message is going to look over here. That's how it's going to look. Now let's close the try block with a catch block. I'm going to say catch error, and we're going to just show the error. Let's just copy this and put it here, and we're going to say error initializing camera, error initializing camera, and let's put E and save that. Now the next thing we need to do is just initialize this, so that whenever we open this page on the emulator, it would open it, it will just like launch with the camera and stuff. So let's just do that. So let's do that. Let's initialize it. So on launching the screen, we want the camera whole setup to work. So we just call override. Then we would have init. So by init states. So what are we initializing? We're initializing the setup camera controller over here. And we also have to dispose it, which is a good practice. So what disposing does is it helps us like remove the initialization of the camera from the widget tree once it is no longer in use. So what are we going to dispose? We're just going to dispose the camera controller. We're going to dispose it. Dispose camera controller. So let's just dispose that camera controller dot dispose. These are the nodes. Yeah, and after that we're just going to create the UI. You can see that it's still blank. Let's just create the UI so that you'll be able to see how everything will turn out. So we'll call the body and we're going to say UI. So you can see there's an error. This is where we'll call the UI. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create the UI outside this place. We're just going to use an if and else statement for if the what's it called, if the camera is not initialized or is not working properly. Show, or while it's initializing, just show a circular progress indicator. And if it does exist, then just show the camera. So let's just put camera controller equals to null, or camera controller is false. Basically, that's the value for it being initialized, is false. So let's just do this, do this. Yeah, so let's do this. Now if this is false or is null, let's return a circular progress indicator just to show that it is loading while it is initializing. So circular progress indicator, and let's just give it a color red. Sorry, colors.red. No, and in case you guys are wondering why I chose red, it's just a random. You guys can pick whatever color you want. For me, it's just random. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to return. So if this is not null or is not false, we're just going to return a normal UI that would show the camera itself. A safe area. And we're going to use column. Let's use column. Columns always have children, and we're going to do we'll put the camera preview. So to get the preview, basically just see what your camera is seeing. we're just going to put camera preview. Just going to call it a camera preview. It's as simple as that. And we'll give it the controller, which is the camera controller that we assigned. And we're just going to put a no check for it there, so that it doesn't give us any issue. Then at the bottom, we're going to put let's see, let's just give it a button, elevated button. Pressed, we need to capture, so we're just going to write the command to capture later, double later, and let's just give it a text called capture. And right now we just wrote all these things blind, which is bad practice. We're supposed to be like saving continuously to see everything that is happening in our code. So let's press R to reload. As you see, we're getting this error here because we didn't initialize it. So what we have to do is excuse me, as you can see, we're getting this error here because the initialization is taking place while we're coding. We need to now reload, so we use hot restart command, which is a capital letter R in your terminal, and you see to reload first. Then now it's asking us to give permission to use the camera for either taking pictures or recording video. I won't say while using the app. So click on while using the app. It also asks us to allow us to use it while recording audio, and we'll click record audio, and the next thing you see is this. So this is just basically how it will look like without it being on a real device. So I'll just show you a screen recording of how it looks on a real device, and that will be the end of this initial video, which we'll call part 1. So part 2, I'll show you how you can capture the image and like preview the captured image. So that will be for the camera. Then maybe part 3 will be a video and other good stuff. So let me just show you the video of it running on my real device, and you'll be able to see the camera working as it should. So let's stop running it on this device, and I'll run it on my real device over here. So I'll just show the screen recording, and yeah. So as you can see, on this device is asking us the same permission that we saw initially on the emulator, and boom, the camera is down, and then you can see I raise up the camera and you can see the camera working on my device. So make sure you let me know what you guys think. Let me know what happens on your end if you run into any errors, and stay tuned for the part 2 of the video that will show you how to capture images and preview it. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking around, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.